Have you ever noticed that you lean forward without realizing it when someone is speaking? Toward the person sitting at the table. Or while slightly turning your head to hear better. Maybe you are waiting a moment to understand what the other person is saying before they finish the sentence. It is a small thing. But when it starts happening often, people ask themselves this: is my hearing going? Most people ask this question. And most people also assume the answer lies in the ears. The eardrum has weakened. Hearing has diminished. They think they will one day go deaf. But in many cases that is not what is happening. The ears are receiving sound. But the brain cannot keep up with processing it. This is called auditory processing speed. To put it simply, the brain receives millions of pieces of sound information every day, sorts them, filters them, and produces meaning. In a young person, this process is very fast. There is almost no distance between hearing and understanding. But after the 60s, this process slows down. The ear is receiving the sound. The brain is trying to sort it. But sometimes there is not enough time. This is why you get lost in the middle of a sentence while talking with someone. The words arrived. But the brain was not ready yet. And that millisecond difference prevented understanding. Noisy environments become especially difficult. A restaurant. A family dinner. A wedding hall. Many sounds arrive at the same time. A young brain automatically filters these sounds. It brings the important one to the foreground and pushes the rest to the background. This filtering mechanism also slows with age. The brain now struggles to decide which sound to prioritize. Everything arrives with equal force. And pulling a meaningful conversation out of this chaos becomes exhausting work. This is where the fatigue comes from. Do you remember that strange tiredness that wraps around you when you come home from a crowded place? You did not do anything physical. But you feel drained. The brain spent the entire time in that environment constantly trying to process, filter, and make sense. It did consciously what is normally done automatically. This effort is invisible. But the fatigue is very real. Over time, people notice this fatigue. And quietly something changes. The desire to go to crowded places decreases. Phone conversations are kept shorter. Social gatherings feel less appealing. This is not a preference. This is a protective instinct. The body says, let us go somewhere I do not have to spend this much effort. And slowly the world becomes a little smaller. Without even realizing it. You may have noticed the television volume going up too. This is also part of the same mechanism. Speech sounds are particularly affected. Because speech is a multi-layered sound. There is tone, rhythm, speed, meaning. The brain must process all of these simultaneously. And as the volume increases, this processing becomes a little easier. This is why the volume button slowly creeps upward. One click more each passing year. The message beneath all of this is this: the ears are usually still working. But the timing between the brain and the ears has changed. This is not a malfunction. This is a change in tempo. So what can be done? There is no exercise list here. There is no treatment protocol either. But there is awareness. Observe yourself during conversation. When you notice yourself leaning forward, this is not weakness. This is a sign that your brain needs a little more information. Eye contact helps processing. Lip movements complete the sound. A quiet environment gives the brain space. Do not hesitate to ask someone to repeat themselves during a conversation. This is not rudeness. This is awareness. It is listening to your body's need. And knowing your need is preserving your independence. Aging is not giving up on understanding. Your way of understanding is changing. It takes a little more time. It requires a little more attention. But you are still understanding. You are still connected. You are still there. I want to ask you something. How old are you? Have you experienced that strange fatigue after being in a crowded place? Write in the comments. I am curious. If this observation told you something, join our channel. Every week we talk about changes the body quietly lives through but are often not understood. No rush. Just understanding. Hearing is not a single moment. Hearing unfolds over time. And as time changes, listening changes too. This is not loss. This is transformation.